recording. Oh yeah, I'll just follow me around.
Good evening. This painting is called Damien and Joe. Depicts the artists Joe Coleman and Damien Loeb inside the helicopter from the television series MASH, and they are flying over a icy European Transylvanian Count Dracula kind of landscape. Joe Coleman is reading a book about martyrs. There's one of the saints with a cleaver through his head and another woman getting tortured here horribly. And he's holding a joystick with this Chinese head on it, and he's wearing a kind of priest's dog collar, so it's kind of showing their different characters. Meanwhile, this girl is holding on to the bottom, and she is machine gunning the glass canopy with kisses. So it's an oil on canvas, 5 foot by 4 foot, called Damien and Joe. This other painting, which is called, I don't know if you can see the whole painting in this, it's called the Chilean Requiem. It depicts a Chilean jet pilot who is just ejected out from his aircraft over the South American Andes. And as he floats through the clouds, he remembers all of his extended family, the grandfather and the parents, and then the aunties and the uncles, and then eventually his son there in his helmet. So it's like a flash of all his memories. Perhaps it's from the Yeats poem about the Irish airman, you know, but this guy doesn't die, he survives. He goes through the clouds and he thrives. This one shows, again, Damien Loeb, an artist who I knew about when I first arrived in America, and the art critic Charlie Finch from New York, this huge Falstaffian art critic. They are in a Junkers Ju-88 German paratrooper aircraft, and all of them are parachuting out, including Charlie Finch on his huge parachute, because he's a big boy. And inside his parachute is this scene showing the devil persuading this woman to take money from this old fellow here. There he is. She's taking his purse, so that's inside the wallet, inside the parachute here. This is an unfinished painting that we just put up so I could get an example of the kind of work that I do. We'll flash through these quickly. There's Cuban George. This is a Mexican cartel member who suddenly goes and becomes interested in art. Two people meeting in front of an American apartment building. The cafe in my hometown of Wick, with a lady in the window. The Reverend R.R. Sinclair from my hometown in Wick, and two paintings with the kind of evolution of the earth behind him, back and forth. The artist Gregory Gillespie, who I met when I first came to America, and was in a two-man show with him, with also the artists Jeff Koons and Frank Gehry, the architect. The Buddhist leader Sheng Yen from Taiwan, who I used to draw every week when I listened to his talks, and managed to do this painting of. The art dealer Matthew Marks from New York, who my art dealer was too afraid to exhibit this painting, afraid that this art dealer was too powerful, so it's here now on show at last. Girl by the window, man walking up the mountain. This is one of my models that I've used for years, and this was the last painting I did with him before he actually died. This was when I worked in a prison as an art therapist, and it depicts several prisoners. They're all loosely based on people that were actually in there, but they're not exact reproductions. We draw back from this big painting here so we can see the whole painting. It's another one showing Central Park, and this being is manifesting itself on top of one of the horses. You can see the remnants of Essex House behind there, but it's only 2 words can be seen. It says sex use. 2 feet are ascending into the heavens from this skinned alive man who is the saddle of the horse. Meanwhile, this Chinese Mongol female with a Kalashnikov machine gun rides through a kind of snowball in the middle of the scene. This painting is based on the story of Fighting Mac, who was the hero of the Victorian era, who fought in Afghanistan and all the colonial wars, and was statues were everywhere, and then had an ignoble end where he was buried secretly after a scandalous affair, and his statues were all torn down. But a man rematerialized in the First World War, fighting for the Germans and refusing to fight against the British. He fought on the other side of the front, the Eastern Front, and he paid a remarkable resemblance to Fighting Mac. He was called von Mackenstein. So there he is here in the painting wearing von Mackenstein's hood with the Totenkopf, that means dead head, the skull and crossbones. And if we flash through the exhibit here, quickly we're doing this so it doesn't take so much time. We have a scene of an albino soldier coming back from Iraq. He's inside the American Buffalo Bill. That was the first time America imported itself to the other world. You know, like the movies do it nowadays. The Buffalo Bill travelling show did it back in the 19th century. They were in all the European countries, Germany, Scotland, France. This thing would appear with a rodeo with cowboys and buffaloes and horses and American Native Americans. And so this is it, like again, you know, here we are again, back putting this all over the world. There's a little scene here with a buffalo being exterminated on a tattoo. We have a nice cattle scene here, a tranquilo kind of forest, and here's the wild buffalo behind him. He's a very wounded man. As we move over here in the darkness, we can see a self-portrait in an old fencer's costume. He's in a kind of Victorian Regency room. It's an oil painting on wood. And here is another thing that's based on an old photograph I found of an old house. In an old house of Abraham Lincoln in Scotland, and I imagined him sleeping in that house in his last days, and there's a portrait of him here on that log with the axe that Lincoln used to use as a boy. Lincoln sleeping like a log. And these are foreheads of different boxers that I met in the Bronx. A Kurdish boxer, a Ukrainian boxer, a Dominican boxer, and this was an old Irish boxer. So there are all these old boxers. These are done spontaneously. So that's a quick overview of the show, folks, and I hope that if you're still able to make it, it's on in the Longwood Gallery in the Bronx until the 9th of December 2014, open on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Fridays from 12 noon until 5 p.m. and free entry, and they're worth scrutinising. There's a lot more details than I've gone over in this quick précis. Thank you very much. Good night. There he is. I tell you, there's no...